In this video, we're going to go through the steps to use Zapier to extract attempt data from Synap and add it to your spreadsheet of choice. There's a few things that you need to do before you get started. Firstly, make sure that you've been invited to Synap's beta Zapier, which means that you get access to our actions and triggers. The second thing is that you'll need to get in touch with your account manager to request your portal ID, API key, and your org secret key. Once you've got all that, you can get started. When you there is a little bit of setup needed before we get in this video. We're going to go through how you can use Zapier to extract attempt data from a user's attempt on an exam or a course and move that into your spreadsheet of choice. There's a few things that you need to do before you get started. Firstly, make sure that you've been invited to use Synap's Zapier triggers and actions. You can do this by speaking to your account manager, as well as requesting your org, secret key, API key, and portal ID. The other thing you're going to need to do before you get started is in your spreadsheet of choice, decide on the headers you want. And the other thing you need to do before you get started is in your spreadsheet of choice, set up the headers that you want for the data. So this could be the user's name, their attempt ID, the exam name, scores, grades, things of that nature. Once you've done that, you can come into Zapier and get started. So firstly, the trigger we want is the Synap completed attempt trigger. We'll search for Synap. If you've not signed in before, this is where it'll ask you to connect it. By clicking the button to the right, it will allow you to enter the org secret key, API key, and your portal ID, and that will connect your portal to Zapier. Once that's all set up, click on the event, and we're going to look for completed attempt. So this is going to trigger when a user's completed and submitted their attempt. And then once that triggers, we'll be able to get that data and pass it through to our spreadsheet. I'm just going to choose my account and then continue. So when you test the trigger, if there's no attempts that have been taken on any tests, if there's no attempts that have been taken on your portal just yet, it will populate with some test data. In my case, it's found an example test data that already exists on my portal. So we can see there's quite a lot of information in here that can be used. So we can see here there's quite a lot of data here that can be used. It's worth having a little look through because you might want to make some amendments later to your spreadsheet to pull in and pass more data through. As long as you're happy with the attempt that is found as an example and the data, you can click continue. And now we're going to connect our spreadsheet. In this case, I'm using a Google Sheets option. The event is going to be to create a new row. And we'll just click continue. And then I'll need to connect my account. In this case, I've done that in advance. And now I can choose which sheet specifically I want to connect. And lastly, the worksheet on that sheet. So we can see we've got 3 new fields that have populated. These are the fields that I currently have in my spreadsheet for this example. So name, we're going to populate that with the candidate's name. We can select username from the sign up data attempt. And we've got test title. Again, we can find that here. And lastly, we've got the score. And we can also use this little search option here to find a score. There's a few different options here, but we'll just take the score as a total. Because this is just an example, you can see it's saying no data, but in real life there would be data there. So we'll just click continue. And then what we can do is we can test that action. It's worth noting that when you do test the action, that data is going to be passed through to your spreadsheet. And as long as we're happy with everything and the spreadsheet looks as we expect, we can publish a Zap. And that is a quick run through of how you can use Zapier to extract attempt data from Synap and pass it through to a spreadsheet. This can be used for charting users' progress, charting attempts on an overall exam, whatever. This can be used